Brand new interview here with Ian Hazakostas between Ian and Mr. GM, a WoW developer interview on the Midnight Alpha. Let's see if we can gather any more information from this interview and get more into what is coming in Midnight.
All right. Hopefully the stream can hear you, Ian. Say hi.
Hello.
All right. Brilliant.
Does that work? Okay.
We're good. We're good. All right. I kind of thought this was at 6:30 my time, so now I'm a bit. That's fine.
No. All good.
Yeah, the chat are kind of going crazy about this. I wanted to just kind of. I didn't have any like solid plan really. Just kind of thought we'd just chat
cadence.
about midnight things and stuff. I've put so many hours into the alpha on the internal thing. I think we had like 24 hours to play it, and I put like, I want to say 14 hours in easy. It was
efficient use of your time. Appreciate it.
Definitely, and it's so funny as well because it's not even my it was obviously a temporary account, so it's not even. I have to do it all again, but that's totally fine. I did want to ask about the Arcantina.
Sure.
A couple of things about that. So
Yeah.
it
That
was
thing's interesting.
So I got to it through the Arator quest line.
It's almost like a player hub outside of the hub city. And they're going to give you quests to go to across Azeroth to Old World Azeroth, which is cool.
And I wasn't sure like how you get back to it. Like I had a quest item in my bag, which I don't know if it was bugged that it was staying there, but like I guess in general beyond that, like what's the sort of like way to get over to there?
I believe there will be a portal in Silvermoon that is freely reusable that we plan to we can move around. We can have portals anywhere. The idea is this is like a mystical nexus, but we want it to be freely accessible going forward.
It's the vibe of it. It's the Hearthstone Tavern. Have you ever seen any of the Hearthstone cinematics and stuff like that? They're playing. It's the Hearthstone Tavern. Now, like I said, this thing is either going to be S tier or meh, depending on the music. The music's got to hit right. We need some bard going on in there, and if they hit that, man, it'd be a cool place to hang out. Also, great place for RPers, Moonguard, of course.
And also, like, actually, one question I've seen a lot of people ask is, I know obviously it's quite early, but is the plan to keep it a evergreen feature, or is
Ian
this
has
just
no
a
idea.
midnight feature?
It does sound like he wasn't sure how to answer that question.
Sure.
I think the plan is for this to be evergreen. I think that's kind of why we chose to use this, mystical construct as opposed to just putting a tavern in Silvermoon or some other expansion fixed location. Because I think a place for visitors to mingle and players to interact with heroes and
Moonguarders to do Moonguard things, if you know what I mean, finger popping each other. Yeah, okay. But the real reason why I'm excited for this thing is not that. I'll do that in my off time. Is the questing. So this looks like it's a new hub to reveal lore or old lore, because they said these quests, so there's going to be like rotating quests, or brand new quests that these random people will show up in the tavern, these random NPCs, and they'll give you a quest sending you off to like Ungoro Crater or Gadget Scan or something, like some old zones where you're going to do things and reveal some lore. I think that's really cool. It's a nice casual thing to do in the game, and it also brings the old world alive. Like shit, you got Kalimdor and the Eastern Kingdoms not being used fully. Now the Eastern Kingdoms are being used for Midnight a little bit, but shit, let's go back to these old places. Let's go get some nostalgic feelings for some stuff. And that sounds like that's what this hub is going to do.
Different narrative-based quest line.
A garrison inn again? Yeah, but it's not by yourself. It's everybody goes to this inn. It's not a single... But I guess it kind of is a take on garrison inns, isn't it? But a more social take on it.
That's something I think we're going to want to use.
It's a good one, Cave Shady. I hadn't thought about it.
I did want to talk about like the background of it, because it was added in 8.2.5, the original model, and people loved it. I know a lot of Day Minor friends of mine are just obsessed with it, and it's so awesome to see it in, finally. I guess if you can say, what was the original plan with it? Because it's so detailed.
I think... So I'm trying to... I'm honestly trying to remember. I think there was some discussions of Hearthstone collaboration, some discussions of some of we had a Warcraft Tavern marketing campaign several years back, but it
looks like a Hearthstone thing
filmed, and I think we were looking for ways to pull something like that into the game initially for promotional purposes, but it didn't quite fit. And then we've just had this gathering cobwebs over the years. And we're simultaneously, our narrative team and actually Metzen, we're talking about, how we all wish there were a gathering place for some of these major lore characters that made sense, and we didn't have to like move them around every patch to suit the story. And those two ideas just kind of fit together.
Yeah, sounds cool. I mean, I like his honesty there. Like they've had this idea, but they haven't been sure how to put it into the game, and now they finally figured it out to match up with the lore and everything else. I think this will be a cool side thing that I wasn't really expecting with this expansion.
That's awesome. Are the stories related to Midnight, or are they just like random little side stories with Gammon or something like that?
A bit of both, right? I mean, I think certainly the events of Midnight are what's happening right now, and so that's going to touch, the stories and what everyone is most focused on.
Vanilla Hearthstone was,
but I think going forward, it should be a mix of current and evergreen.
Okay, excellent. What I had something else that I wanted to say with the Void. So I don't know if this was like super early or whatever. So I did the Void Elf unlock quest in Koresh. Is it fully in? Because it felt, perhaps this is just feedback from like me just playing it the first time. It felt a little like anticlimactic, I guess, in a sense, right? So we just kind of finished we killed the big observer, and then they were like, "Hey, we'll go teach you how to do demon hunter things." Is that the whole quest, or is there more to it that isn't perhaps on the alpha?
I think that's good. I'm actually not 100% sure. I think it gets a little messy when we have, at this stage, we have internal builds and things that are going out. Like, for example, the build that you've been playing for the last couple of days is different from the build that's about to go live for the public today. And so I know there's some confusion about like class changes that people were talking about based on their early access that were different from what's in some of our blogs. That's just because the blogs are more recent. So I believe there is more to it, but it's also possible there's a bug. I'll need to get back to the team on that.
Okay, brilliant. Actually, related to kind of class changes, a bit of a specific one. Had a lot of questions about survival hunters. So obviously they are now getting dual wield, I believe. People were wondering if you're still able to do have two-handers, or is it just going to be dual wield from now?
Who's doing dual wield? What did he say? I missed that. Who's getting dual wield?
People were wondering if you're still able to do changes. A bit of a specific one. Had a lot of questions about survival hunters. So obviously they are now getting dual wield, I believe. People were wondering if you're still able to do have two-handers, or is it just going to be dual wield from now on?
I believe the intent is both. I will need to double check that, but I think we certainly wouldn't want to have people who have only used two-handers and that's all they have on them. And in their
my first character ever in the game was Hunter, and I didn't know how to play really well at all. And what I ended up doing was I dual wielded cruel barbs. If you know Deadmines, back in vanilla WoW, you know that the cruel barb was like one of the best weapons in the game at that level, and I looted two of them. People got mad at me for doing it, but I did it. Fuck them. And I dual wielded cruel barbs as a hunter, and I didn't even use my bow for a long time. I was just so badass and I was actually doing good damage, just dual wielding cruel barbs. That's what this reminds me of.
Tags log in and suddenly be unable to play their spec. Just looking to make sure that people have a range of
Mr. GM asking hard questions. Yeah, he's tripping
and combat options.
Yeah, love that. Someone asked about, this is again really specific, Dracthyr like armor colors and things, because obviously they do their transmogging through the barbershop and things like that. Are there any plans to kind of expand that a little bit, perhaps?
So sorry.
True, Ari.
Could you repeat the question?
Sorry, yeah. So kind of the Dracthyr armors that they do through the barbershop and things. Is there any plans to maybe extend that in regards to different armors you can wear or like different colors or anything like that?
Not currently in the works for Midnight, but that's something that we would definitely like to do. It's not lost on us the general pain point for Dracthyr players around the just technical limitations of what transmog can show on their draconic forms. So the more we can do to offset that in the bespoke barbershop customizations, the better. But
Scaly
I think
boys.
That's the kind of thing that's more likely to come in patches. I think usually, as we're thinking about the resources.
I think if they just allow Dracthyr to stay in Visage form, that would help them a lot with their transmog issues. It would be a little bit tough because some of their abilities obviously require you to be a dragon, like the flyover, dragon breath shit. But maybe you just transform for that second and then transform back. That would be a way to do it. But yeah, Dracthyr transmog does suck.
Of the team and what our art team is working on in an expansion release, almost everything is being poured into building all the new stuff. And then in patches, we have some more bandwidth to, shore up old areas that are in need of attention before we shift our attention back to a bunch of new stuff for the next expansion.
Kind of like Worgen,
Brilliant. Also, someone did ask about, just to keep it on Dracthyr, I guess, for a second. Someone asked about visage form on the Warband screen. They would like a choice potentially.
That is not won't begin for midnight, but it's something we are working on. I think ever since Warband's backgrounds and customization has gone in, we've also heard requests from Druid players who want to be able to choose to be in a form or not. Just being able to customize what version of your character is showing on that screen is definitely something that we want to do.
Amazing.
Cool.
I played a Void Elf Demon Hunter actually for a little bit, and it was super fun. I will say one thing, and I, again, could be just alpha being alpha, and I probably shouldn't be looking at it so soon, but I made a new one, and I was spawned into Mardoom for the starting experience, and I was curious if that is the plan with them.
That should not be the plan with them.
Right.
It's just tripping.
Yeah, there's again
like,
things
what?
there's stuff that needs to be done by the time we ship the game, and then there's stuff that we want to get feedback on ASAP. And so we usually prioritize the stuff that we need feedback on.
I love how Ian's grinning right now. Like he's like, yeah, that's fucked up. That's broken as shit. That shouldn't be happening.
To get
this is great.
Up and running for alpha. But yes, we understand that Void Elves are not going to have the same beginning as their Night Elf and Blood Elf brethren. You were not, in fact, locked away
that'd be weird.
beneath the Vault of the Wardens for the last 1,000 years.
I was going to say, yeah, it did feel a bit strange. But then, I told someone, they were like, yeah, but it makes sense. I was like, it doesn't. It makes no sense. No. So someone in chat asking about Warbound progression for professions, like a catch-up or anything like that. I guess kind of a general thing, like with professions in Midnight. Is there anything like you want to share about what's kind of happening with those?
Account-wide professions?
So let's see. So I think we are looking to simplify quality levels on certain aspects of the profession system, particularly when it comes to consumables.
Yeah, I saw that.
Removing a quality level there. Just looking at how things worked in practice.
When you craft, you only have the top 2 quality levels now rather than 5 levels of quality. Like, who's going to craft those bottom 3 ones? Nobody. So they're just getting rid of them.
The auction house.
That's good.
People really only used 2 of the 3 options anyway. I think as we look at professions in the medium to long term in Midnight and beyond, I think we're happy overall with how the big rework that went into Dragonflight has played out in terms of adding a lot of depth to professions for crafters who really want to seek out that depth, who want to make trade skills a part of their character's identity, and also in terms of making professions and engaging with them very important even as consumers for a wide variety of players. I think
Dragonflight was good for professions, most definitely. I'm not a profession, Andy. You guys know I don't do professions. Actually, the first time I've been really crafting shit or having things crafted for me has been this patch. And now that I've interacted with the system a little bit, I actually think it's decent. It's much better than what we've had in the past. So I think, this expansion was good for professions.
Both of those things were not true prior to Dragonflight. However, we've definitely lost some things in terms of approachability of crafting, broadly speaking. I think while there is that depth, that's also a daunting amount of complexity for some people who just like the idea of making stuff, but don't necessarily want to have to, download a guide and figure out how to go all the way down that rabbit hole. And so I think we'd like to move towards a world where there are perhaps 3 tiers of complexity. I think that the current level of complexity is appropriate for long-term item crafting. Like if you're making armor, you're making a weapon, you're making an item that someone is going to use for months or that you are going to use yourself for months.
That's what I use it for.
All of that depth, all of that customization makes a ton of sense. Does it make sense to have that same level of complexity for a potion that you're just going to drink and not think about again? Probably not. Yeah. Then at the far other end of the spectrum, gathering is something that I think we want to be nearly universal for anyone who wants to do it. And we're not quite there yet, but I think...
Yeah, they had the new tree chopping, the lumber shit. So for player housing, you're going to use lumber for things to craft things, and everybody's going to be able to chop down trees now. It looks like just a little golden axe in the tree, and you just chop it. It's really cool, actually. Again, what I said is I compared it to New World, because I always said New World had the best tree chopping ever in an MMO. It was fantastic. I don't know if it's going to be on that level, but it's something to casually do. You'd be able to chop down some trees.
As you look at how changes to the system...
The tree won't actually fall, though, so that kind of sucks.
We're probably going to be continuing to nudge things in those directions.
Chasing that wood, yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you. I did one of the things that was kind of like a bit of a sleeper reveal in the notes was the mythic transmog thing. So if you get like the mythic set or a higher set, it unlocks the previous sets, which honestly I read and was like, this is the greatest day of my life. And I guess a kind of a couple questions regarding that. The first one actually that people were very curious on.
Mr. GM ranks greatest days of his life. Transmog being fully capable of working down, you get heroic, you unlock, you get mythic, you unlock all of them, and then after that, birth of his first child. I'm teasing Mr. GM, but that's freaking funny.
Is obviously Legion Remix is coming up, right? So
he's saying it obviously for dramatic effect.
Knowing this information, should we just be buying the mythic sets?
That's a good question. Possibly. Let me. Yeah. Well, I think they're. It's a good question. Perhaps you've just saved yourself some bronze. Certainly, I expectation would be that that's how it works. It depends on whether the remix sets were set up in some unusual way, but I will take that back to the team and make sure that it's all working as intended.
Fuck, they're gonna change it. They're gonna change it. Damn it, Mr. GM, you revealed our secret. So yeah, people were saying this. They're like, if you can unlock all the transmog for all the tier sets by getting the mythic version, then right now in Legion Remix, all you should buy is the mythic versions. So that way you just get them all. And that's what people have been saying ever since this got revealed. And now Ian was like smiling, like he was like, oh shit, he's right. Yeah, so that's getting fixed. Yeah, I agree. They're going to fix that.
Yeah, I guess the only thing with that is like the ensemble contains the non-class agnostic ones, so perhaps it would be worth to buy them. Yep. I'm not sure. Also on
We're
that,
screwed now, yeah.
So there was a lot of kind of thought after the fact of, so I believe upgrading items through upgrading or whatever will not give the appearances. So one of the things that was kind of a concern in the community was a lot of people do delves as like a solo gearing path, and obviously turning that delve hero track gear into tier and then upgrading on the catalyst unlocks the mythic appearance, which is obviously for players that do that content, it's the only way for them to get it.
Yes.
Is it set in stone, like in regards to like that is the plan with the upgrading thing, or is there kind of a wiggle room perhaps where we could have something?
I wouldn't say that it's set in stone. That's a topic that the team has been discussing a lot just in the last day. I think that some of our changes to how upgrading work were really focused on first and foremost the power side of the system.
Yeah.
And wanted to add clarity there, and the general idea of a hero piece is a hero piece forever. Effectively, it only needs one type of crest to upgrade it is what we were aiming for. Like some of the problems we were looking at were the tension that players experience, where like if you're, like many players do, someone who starts off getting, let's say, a lot of hero pieces later on in a tier expects to get more myth gear. As you get towards those upper end of hero upgrades and you need gilded crests for them, you're going to often stop using them on hero pieces, hoard them until you have myth pieces later on.
Yeah,
that feels awkward all around. Ideally, you should just use the currency, enjoy the upgrade, and not worry that you're making a mistake or falling into a trap.
Yeah.
And so what we said, okay, what if it's just a one-to-one mapping of a crest type to a gear upgrade track? And I think that solves several problems from a power progression systems perspective. Completely understand
it does
the concern and the frustration for players who have relied on this mechanism as a way of also getting access to new appearances of higher tiers.
So basically you push the heroic level gear as far as you can up into the bottom tier of myth, and then you convert it in your catalyst and you can unlock that version of tier, right? That color of tier. You won't be able to do that anymore under this new system. Now, if I had to, I'm not, I do raids, so I can't speak for the Gregs of accounting out there who are only running delves constantly and trying to avoid their abusive wives. But what I can say is, if I had to pick between the two, I think this new system's better. You get all the shit that should be, from below, what you got in below, and it's going to be retroactive. I think that's better. If we're going to miss out on the myth track of the, of what the gear looks like, oh well. I'll be honest, a lot of times I don't even think the myth track version of the gear is the best looking version of the gear. So for a lot of it, I won't care.
So,
but I understand. Maybe they'll change it.
I don't have an answer to give right now, but I can say that it's an issue that the team is actively discussing.
Yep. Should plus 10 gears now offer myth track? Plus 10?
No,
maybe.
I think it's important to obviously.
Maybe that's their solution.
We're pretty early alpha, so it's obviously good to get things like that out there already. So many people are asking about heirlooms. So is there any changes or updates to heirlooms coming in Midnight or beyond?
I'm not aware of any. That's not to say that there won't be any.
Right.
But I try to keep on top of as much as I can when it comes to all of the nuances of the game. But
So GM's getting
I cannot claim to be omniscient off the cuff. Sorry.
No, it's fine. There's too many layers to this game. It's insane. Yeah. You'd have to be a genius. I did some delves on the alpha. Really enjoyed it. Valera was very, very fun. She didn't have any quips though, I will say. I hope that's coming in eventually. I was a bit upset about that. But I did enjoy the delves.
Voice
I thought they were
lines.
great.
One thing about Valera that's very interesting is she has the 3 roles, right? She has the healing, which is like she throws pots or whatever, the DPS role, and then the tanking role. The tanking role is what I find interesting, because if you've been playing this game since vanilla, you remember there was a time of rogue tanks where they would like build up their versatility so high that they could actually dodge enough to tank through a dungeon. Like, this did exist in the game. It wasn't an official version of rogues where they could actually tank, but people would build out their rogues well enough that they could be the tank of the group. And when I see Valera tanking, I'm like, oh, are we going to get a tanking spec for rogues? Could rogues potentially get a 4th spec that's tanking? Because one thing I've been saying is we need more tanking specs in this game to get people to explore tanking more. Because as a Blood DK, I can only carry this game for so long. How many people are going to start tanking? We don't have enough tanks in the game. So maybe there's a hint there, guys, that we eventually get rogue tanks.
One thing I was curious on, I guess it might be a bit early perhaps, but like gearing in delves.
Yeah, versatility didn't exist. You're right. It was agility. They used to build up agility and dodge. Yes, yeah. Those were the stats. I forgot. Yeah, you're right. Verse didn't exist.
Expect any potential changes with that?
They could tank. It was crazy.
From the War Within.
I don't believe we have any significant changes currently planned. I think, when it comes to rewards from
Shaman
seasons from these core systems, I think they evolve as much during expansions as they do at the start of them, right? I think if you look at the trajectory of delves, or even how Mythic Plus has evolved over the course of War Within, right, there were significant changes to how that worked during the expansion. And so I think right now, we have been building the Midnight Delve system honestly basically simultaneously as we've been building War Within Season 3. So the changes we wanted to make are the ones that have gone into the live game. If, as we see Season 3 continue to play out, we have some months of alpha and beta ahead of us. If we start to see any cracks showing or obvious areas of opportunity or improvements, those are changes that could make their way
Thorn, thank you for the follow. Welcome to our Scourge.
into the first Midnight season. But currently, I think we're pretty happy with how the ecosystem is playing out.
Brilliant. Thank you. So many questions in chat about it's, again, perhaps a little niche. They really would like a new achievement for mounts, for collecting mounts.
Oh yeah, everyone's got that amount achievement now.
Yes, noted. Nothing to announce at this time.
I think there's like 55 mounts coming in the next patch because of Legion Remix. So there's so many people are going to cap out on their mount achievements.
We also want to make sure that when we do increase the achievement count for mounts, that we're also offering a mount that feels worthy of that effort.
Yeah.
I know we've heard feedback in the past when we raise the cap,
it does equal a free mount. That's true.
It feels like a lackluster reward, and so trying to find the right fit there while recognizing that we also have a wider range of activities than ever before that demand really cool mounts. And so what happens often is like a lot of our cool mounts end up being awarded via Delves, Mythic Plus, major renowns, you name it. And then we look at what's left and we're like, none of these is really worthy of being the new achievement reward. And so we kick the can down the road. But we understand that collectors, particularly the very high-end ones, have exceeded the current options and want something new.
Yeah, some people have like over 1,000 mounts now. It's absurd.
And some people got 1,000, and I don't have Invincible. I still don't have Invincible. I should ask Ian, like, are you ever just going to give me fucking Invincible, please? For the love of God, I've been running that shit for like 10 years now. Can I just have the mount? Can we get like some bad luck protection built in for this shit? Jesus.
Someone was asking about... Actually, yeah, again, might be too early to ask, and,
he will not,
obviously not answer it. Pre-patch event. Now, I did notice a little Twilight Highlands portal popping up in Stormwind, and some achievements, perhaps. Is there anything you could say pertaining to that, perhaps?
Yeah, I mean the void is coming for
Story
us.
must be
Zalkath
going
is
there,
coming
yeah.
for us, and there will be, as often is the case, a series of events and dark portents that players need to bounce around the world to help defend.
It must be a pre-patch thing. That's what that sounds like. Must be a pre-patch event, like Void. You're going to have Legion Invasion style, but it's Void portals opening up, right? That's what that sounds like.
Against that are all foreshadowing and building up to
building
this
up
big
to the
assault on the
expansion.
Sunwell that is going
Okay.
to kick off the expansion itself.
Yeah, it's pre-patch.
We
That's
should be
what that is.
testing that pre-patch event later on in beta as we
Okay.
get closer to actually rolling it out. But it should be a fun intro to what's going on, and as always, a chance for people to catch up on gear and otherwise get their characters ready if they haven't been playing War Within all the way through.
Fantastic, thank you.
Yeah, sir, I've tried that too.
I had a question and I've completely forgotten it. There was something about exteriors for housing. I didn't see it in the internal alpha. Is that something we're going to see fairly soon, perhaps, onto the testing?
Exteriors in what sense?
Like the housing exteriors, so like customizing the chimneys and the roofs and all the stuff out like on the outside.
And they said that's
yes,
coming.
That should be coming in the very near future. Just as you've seen in the video, I think there'll be human and night elf structures on the Alliance side, Orcish and Blood Elf on the Horde side, and each of those comes with a number of things that you can modify, adjust, remove, recolor, etc.
Okay,
Nice.
Brilliant. Actually, I did want to ask. So we obviously got the really great roadmap for the alpha, like telling us when things are coming. Obviously, things are subject to change, of course, but like, do you have a rough idea of the cadence of the phases? Like, I think I want to say in War Within it was around about a week or so, like each new build.
Yeah, I think our goal is a week. I think when we publish a roadmap, we always want to leave a little wiggle room because it's alpha, and sometimes when we are trying
Shit gonna
to
break.
make a new build to release, something is horrifically broken in it.
I wonder when they're going to give us the 2026 roadmap for the game. That's what I want to see. That thing is great. Ever since Blizzard started doing that, it's such a nice way for them to communicate things, and they've been sticking to it. Like, legitimately, Blizzard has not missed a single roadmap item. They have not had to adjust the roadmap yet. Now, I'm probably jinxing them. It's going to completely fuck up this one. But I wonder when they're going to give us that 2026 one. I want it.
Because it's alpha, and so we have to,
Yeah, the
slip back
roadmaps
a
are
week.
amazing.
So we don't want to, break promises ultimately. But our general goal is every new week, expect a new build, expect a new zone for testing, expect the new dungeons in that zone, kind of progress through the phases in that way. As the level cap goes up, we'll hit max level to do a focus test on some of the end game max level content. And then once everything is there, do a character wipe, call it beta, and invite a bunch more people in and really do that like end-to-end testing of the
Epic
holistic
Edition, you'll get the
experience.
beta access
Fantastic. I promise I did do Eversong words. They're not just I didn't just run around Kazalgar and stuff. One thing I did notice, and I would kind of love to hear the philosophy, I guess, in regards to this. There's a couple of areas of Eversong Woods which are basically like one-to-one like HD upgrades. Pretty much like one example is like the Sunstrider Isle. Quel'Danas obviously as well felt very much like I was in the Burn Crusade version, if it's like
Just
in
like
the
revamped?
best graphics in the world. I guess from a philosophy and design point of view, where
WoW
were those
2?
decisions made in regards to like we should redesign this or versus like we should just kind of up-res this in a sense?
It's a mix of factors. I think it has to do with the story intent for that area,
Right.
and whether the way it was laid out, what was there, 18 years ago, still fits what we want to have happening today and what stories we need to tell.
I'm kind of excited to see Strathome post culling, right? We had the whole, purging of Strathome and everything, and now we're going back there with Eretor and a quest line, evidently. So that's going to be cool to see like how the village came back post plague and everything. So I'm guessing that's getting revamped in some way, shape, or form. Revamps of all the old zones, I would love to see it. I'd love to see everything up-resed. Imagine Ungoro Crater not looking like it's made of 2-bit pixels. It'd be crazy. But that one would probably take so much work. Ungoro is so freaking old looking, it's ridiculous. It literally looks like you're in 2005 again when you go back to that zone. But yeah, I would love to see the whole game look like the up-res zones.
I think also the areas that were used purely
You gotta change them,
for
just
the
up-res
initial
them.
starting experience for Blood Elves are generally more compact and laid out in ways that just aren't suited for modern in late game expansion play. I mean, they were meant for
No comment, J-Mo.
a level 5 player running around, whereas you think about Al Keldanas, and like that was an end game space originally. It was more spread out. It had different hubs that were already meant to serve these purposes, and also narratively, the area directly around the Sunwell is one of the places we'd expect to have changed the least. That is a a place of monumental importance to this civilization,
Sure.
and it's almost a holy site. Whereas the rest of the woods are an evolving location. We'd expect to see the Dead Scar healed. We'd expect to see areas that were previously hostile now have been settled. And so it's exciting to kind of have that approach of marrying nostalgia with the ability to tell new stories in these familiar spaces.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked it. I love the fact that it was the same mobs in Sunstrider Isle as well. It was like the banner worm things and stuff like that. That was really cool.
Yeah.
A lot of people asking about the Armani trolls, but you did kind of answer that yesterday, so I'm not going to ask that. So
we have tweaked their appearance based.
Yeah, Tech Tim, did they get rid of those guys because they're afraid Nintendo's going to sue them? And Nintendo sues everybody now, so they probably got rid of Mario, Luigi, and Link and Ongoro.
On feedback since Gamescom. So thank you for the feedback.
yeah, that was actually that's true. That was a big thing.
Fuck you,
so it's
Malden.
great to see that.
Mm-hmm.
One final thing that people are really spamming about, and again, feel free not to answer. A lot of people asking about the World of Warcraft Community Council, and if there are any plans to extend.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Expand it or change it or whatever. I guess because we haven't heard a ton from it in the last couple months, I would say.
I don't have current information there off the top of my head. I think it's our community team that really administers that. So my focus has been elsewhere, but I can see what I can learn.
No, that's perfect. Thank you. I think that's probably around about time, I would say. But yeah, thank you very much, Ian. I appreciate it.
Who the fuck in the Mr. GM chat was asking about the community council? Like, I feel like that was a wasted question. What the hell? Who gives a shit about that? I forgot that thing even existed.
I know you're very
Absolutely.
busy. You've got all
The other
streams
questions
to
were great, though. I gotta give
drop
Mr. GM
into,
credit.
and Alpha just launched, apparently.
Good
People were
interview.
just saying the build has been pushed, so, I'm sure a lot
Nothing more
is coming
important
out.
than chatting with you.
Oh,
So,
well, I appreciate
yeah.
that. Thank you, Ian.
Yeah,
Have
thank
a
you for all the
wonderful,
great
wonderful day.
questions.
Yep.
Thank you, chat, and take care. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Nice interview. So, yeah, Mr. GM kind of got in there with those questions, tripped him up a little bit on a couple of them. But I really like that, the questions about that new kind of like hub pub that they got going, right, where we're going to be doing all these new quests from there and everything, some nostalgic quests going on there. That should be a lot of fun. And then the stuff about the revamping of the old world, I would love to see that. I personally, I've been playing this game since 2005. I would love to go back to some of those old zones and not see them necessarily changed like Cataclysm style, because that was a bit much, but changed and like brought up to, the new res graphics, right? Give me something more than 2 pixels here. It'd be great. So I think a lot of that stuff would be really cool to see. But overall, a nice interview from Mr. GM here, and a lot of cool stuff coming in Midnight for sure.